It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
So we're coming up on the 60-day mark, 2 months since LaMelo Parker was killed in broad daylight in Biloxi in the middle of I-10. It's 56 days now. 56 days now. To the person who really hated when I say killed in broad daylight, sorry, but that is the description. That is what happened that infamous day 56 days ago. It has come to my attention that the 60-day mark is pretty significant. I don't know why, but as I'm hearing it, after 2 months, typically things start to break loose. Or at least a hush-hush around this case. Pretty much a simple case. 2 people were killed in Biloxi. There was a double homicide. What we're waiting for right now is whether or not there's a grand jury that has been seated to hear the case. At that point, ladies and gentlemen, I will await the grand jury's ruling. Notice I didn't say verdict, because it isn't a verdict. It is the grand jury's ruling, whether there is a true bill or no true bill. In other words, whether there is enough evidence to charge someone. In this case, it would be law enforcement. I would hope it's not. You heard me right. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, it would be a very sad day for any law enforcement to be actually charged with this. Very sad day. It's a very sad commentary on we as a society. You often hear conservatives talk about government. You do realize the first arm of government is the police. You can't have it both ways. You can't tell me you support the police but don't support government. That's just stupid. It's about as stupid as supporting, criticizing the amount of killing on the streets, but yet you want more guns on the street. How dumb is that? When you guys listen to conservatives or call them, you need to call them out. Just ask them some very simple questions. You support government, but you don't support those officers on January 6th fighting for their lives and fighting to maintain the Constitution and the process therein? Yeah, government. Not one of them could ever stand a chance with the debate with Rip Daniels. I've heard from him. I mean, I can't do that guy. Oh, because many of you will listen to Oxy Conservative Talk Radio, and they only provide information that makes them look good, that proves their point. They're not there to be objective. They're there to indoctrinate. And what you've got to do is apply a little common sense. So yeah, it was broad daylight. There were at least 50, maybe even more law enforcement around. The car was stuck in the middle of the median. 4 flat tires. A baby, 4-month-old LaMelo, and his father, lose that term loosely, was in the car. Almost 30 some odd shots fired. Whether you like it or not, that is what happened. And the shots should not have been fired. Whether either one of those shots hit LaMelo or not, shots shouldn't have been fired. Everyone knows it, and you need to come out and admit that. But we can't admit that, can we? And this is what bothers me with law enforcement. And you guys are the DA, even the chiefs of police are both Gulfport, Biloxi. I know these guys. Honorable guys. But I guess the attorneys for the insurance company have told them to, just leave it alone, don't say anything. There's nothing wrong with stating policy. Nothing wrong with saying, our policy on firing into a vehicle when there is a hostage is this. We can't even get that from Sean Tindall, Public Safety Commissioner. How do you think you maintain some credibility in law enforcement when you won't even give your own policy out? Now, don't get me wrong. They'll do it when it comes down to trying to solve a crime, especially one where a police officer was shot, you'll give me the policy then. You'll give me all the information I need, autopsies, everything. You'll give me the birthmarks, the tattoos, even before their charges, bro. Be on the lookout for.
Right.
And guess what? I appreciate that because I will use that information to share that with my listeners in hopes that we will catch this guy that injured or killed that cop. But when you do this, 60 days here, and here we are, no information on why that baby screamed after those shots stopped. It just doesn't, it helps, it erodes our faith in your decision in the case. And we don't need to do that. If anything, we need to maintain this thought that the uttermost professionalism will be given to the investigation, and that the law enforcement government that represents all of us will be honest, forthcoming, and give the policy without specifics, bro. Right?
Right.
They won't even say. Let's see the hands of those who feel that, by the way, there's another case involving Mr. Leonard Parker, whereby an officer fired into the car. There's a lawsuit now pending. This is for the chief of police there of Gulfport. Well, you still can give the policy. Well, when an officer is in fear of his life and a vehicle can be a lethal weapon, then an officer can discharge his weapon. Is that your policy? I don't know. There was another individual in the car. He wasn't driving the car. So when such time an officer is confronted with the vehicle driving toward him, is his first maneuver to get out of the way of the car or to shoot? Personally, I'd get out of the way of the car.
Makes sense to me.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's no guarantee, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hit what's in the car. And besides that, even if you hit the person in the car can still run over you. In this case, however, it is reported that the car was traveling no more than 5 miles an hour. You can't move out of the way of that. I won't let this go. And you shouldn't either, Lee Grace. You shouldn't either. I'll tell you why. Because there but by the grace of God will go my 4-month-old grandchild. Heaven forbid he's taken hostage by someone. Certainly won't be his father. Heaven forbid he is in somebody's car, somebody's truck, and there is a pursuit. That's the way I look at this. I don't know how any father, mother, or grandfather can look at it the same. I really don't. You know, before I get to Derek Chauvin and then the Massachusetts racist terrorist, you know, I've got to put some things in perspective. I was perusing. I very rarely listen to talk radio anybody for any length of time, primarily because my commentary is my commentary, and I don't want it influenced by anyone else's commentary. You know, I'll hear the news, or I'll watch the news. I'll watch what someone else is reporting, and then I'll get a view. But when it gets down to commentary, and what the commentary is their opinion of the news, it is not the news, ladies and gentlemen. Who, what, when, where, how. That's it. I was listening at this conservative talk show host. And these people really think you're stupid. I got a few of them that will call me, a few people who listen to them and then call me thinking they're going to get me. You end up making yourself look really stupid because you're regurgitating from an information source that is biased. They only want you to see it their way, not an objective way. They don't provide you with all the information. They look at it through a narrow straw, and they share that with you. And some of you want it, and that you take it and you run with it, which is why you've got these Kukanon people. But I heard this guy talking about the shootings there in Chicago. All right? So I had Roe pull it up. Shootings in Chicago. Let's see. You got 5 kills, 72 wounded. weekend shootings in Chicago and a couple of mass shootings. Horrible, isn't it? I think it is. I think it's a horrible thing, and it's been this way for quite some time. Well, let's just evaluate this, apples with apples. So in Chicago, you got right at 1.6, 1.8 million people. That's damn near more than all the population of Mississippi. Mississippi's got 3 million people, a little over. Maybe less now that 48,000 Caucasians are no longer here since the census. So you've got close to 3 million people in both locations. Now, Chicago's a city. We are an entire state. You got 72 wounded, 5 killed. So now, you got to compare apples with apples. We're talking population with population. If you got close to 3 million there, well, actually right at 22.8 million, somewhere in there, 3 million here, then you're looking at per capita killings. Now, none of it's good, but conservative talk will come out with this chocolate city and just kind of go, oh, yeah, well, here's what's happening in Chicago. They worried about this, and here's what's happening there. Well, like kinds is like kinds. You're comparing the number of people. The number of people matched by the number of deaths and wounded. And I'm going to tell you, the weekend in Mississippi, comparable to the 2.8 million in Chicago, was damn near just as bad. Actually, more dead. Go figure. In other words, if you can compare that population with this population, and we got an entire state, it's far worse. We didn't get nearly as many wounded, but it was pretty substantial. Jackson damn near took out the 5 killed over the weekend in Chicago. Again, close to 3 million people matched with 3 million people. You see, that's what conservative talk does. They always have just an undertone of racial bigotry. It's just right there. Hey, I want to tell you, here what's happening over there. Hey, look what they're doing over there. They killed this man and shot that man in Chicago. Okay, well, so how many people you got stacked on top of each other? That's what you got. I'm not saying that it's good. I'm explaining what they do and why they do it. That leads their listeners to be biased about people, especially those who look like me. Just saying. Now, they won't go into the number of child abductions. By the way, that's done mostly by Caucasian males, middle class Caucasian males, family members. They didn't go into that.
No.
You want me to? I mean, I certainly can.
Yeah.
The numbers seem to be a whole lot sketchy. But if you're comparing like kinds to like kinds, the number of children that have been abused here in this state, especially by Caucasian males, 3 million to 3 million in Chicago, far greater here in this wonderful state of Mississippi, go figure. And especially in rural areas. According to my friends there who just gave some preliminary numbers by way of the FBI, a lot of the numbers are not reported. I don't know why. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you, I put child molestation in the exact same category as murder. I do. You don't have to. I do. I do. You know, it would be a capital crime in Rip's book. But I guess it isn't, huh? I wonder why. But do you understand? You see what I'm saying here?
Yes.
So Chicago, 2.8 million. Mississippi, 3 million. 200,000 difference. But it's the entire state compared to Chicago, which is basically enough population for this entire state. Mm-hmm. You got me? So you're comparing the populations, ladies and gentlemen. You're not comparing the name Chicago against the name Mississippi.
No.
I dare any one of you conservatives to call me and have this debate. You got a conservative line there, call me. Let's have it. I'll be patiently waiting. If you see anything wrong with that, if the numbers are, you've got some issue that you feel that, I was incorrect with comparing the numbers. You know, folks, I do this not for a living. I do this to empower people, my listeners. The only thing I ask is an informed electorate. The electorate is you. I want to inform you, all right? I'll give you the benefit of my commentary, and I'll tell you it's my commentary, and I'll let you do the same. We can disagree, and I'm not saying I'm right, and I'm not saying you're wrong. If it's your opinion, I just disagree. People who say that, and one now deceased individual would say that quite frequently. Some of you put a bumper sticker on your car. Y'all were just completely indoctrinated. I mean, you really were. I can prove that in many ways. And then there's Derek Chauvin, the cop who got away with murder. No, I'm sorry. The cop who got away with premeditated torture and murder in my book. I'm not angry. I'm pissed. I really am. I mean, about a lot of this, because we have degrees of guilt. Don't you think, ladies and gentlemen, now listen to me, don't you think that if, in fact, you know better, more should be expected of you? I never will forget. I was with my baby brother, and we were jumping. We had bunk beds. I don't know if I should tell this story. Are the kids asleep? Well, I'm not talking to 21-year-olds. I know they're kids. I'm talking about the little boys, you know.
Probably.
We had bunk beds in my house. I mean, you realize my daddy built a very wonderful 2-bedroom house, and he had 6 children. So that meant that my prized possession in my entire life until I got into high school was the bottom bunk bed and my bookcase that was split in half on my side. You got me? So it was a bookcase, but my brother slept with me. My younger brother, Cedric, slept with me. And he went to bed, and I was the heavier guy, and so you know what that meant. But, I mean, it's my brother just the same, and I would, have to clean him up. But what I had was mine was just in that small bookcase, just by the book bed. And so I want you to know I was happy as a lark. Don't go thinking I missed something, because I didn't. I was happy as a lark. As I look back upon those days, there are far more laughs than there is misery, I could tell you. Okay? And so one day when my mom and dad were gone, me and my younger brother was playing a game that anybody would play. Superman. And of course you had to fly. We both had our bathrobes on and tied around our neck with the little arms. And we did something that we couldn't ordinarily do when everybody else was at home, and that was get on the top bunk. My older brother was on above us, and with the boys on one side, girls on the other. My older sister was on the other side. So the whole caper was, everybody's gone, Mom's dad gone, Dale and Emerson's gone. Okay, all right.
It's Superman.
It's Superman time. So we tied the little arms around our neck, and so the task was to jump from my sister's bed to my brother's bed. You understand, this little small house, ladies and gentlemen, the room, 12 by 12. You got 2 bunk beds in it, and the beds are approximately 36, maybe 48 inches wide, right? So you got 4 feet in between the beds. That's including the ladder. So we're gonna fly for 4 feet, bro.
So wait, I just wanted to make sure I got the picture correct.
Yeah.
In my mind, you're jumping from the top bunk to another bed?
Yeah. In other words,
Or to the floor?
You got 2 bunk beds.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 bunk beds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
The 2 bunk beds, you got 8-foot ceilings, so you only have maybe about 3 feet there to
3 feet of clearance. Okay. Okay.
I can't believe I'm telling this story. If Cedric's listening, he is really upset. So here we are. We're all lined up. We got the bathrobes on, and of course, I had a red one, which meant I was more Superman than my younger brother.
It's Superman.
And so his was kind of pea white. You know what I mean? He had that problem. I would jump first. I actually flew from one bed to the other.
You flew.
I flew. Jumped, flew, made it to the other side of the bed. Ooh, my younger brother was going, ooh, he's really Superman. You can do it too. Well, I was hard to say Robin, but Robin can't fly. I don't know why Robin and Batman wear capes. Tabari hates for me to say that.
Yeah, he doesn't like.
I don't know why. Why wear a cape if you can't fly? It doesn't make sense to wear a cape.
They jump from a high point and kind of glide.
Yeah, but you don't have a cape. You can't. A cape is designed for flying. You don't.
They glide.
You don't. They don't glide.
They do glide. They glide. They jump from a high.
All it does is flap in the wind. My younger brother's turn came, and so he got at the edge of the bed, and he pushed. Thought he would fly.
He pushed.
Why are you laughing?
Because I can see it.
He didn't make it. That was not a pretty sight. That was not a pretty sight. I know I'm talking about law enforcement. You'll see where I'm going in a minute. My brother hit the floor, and blood went everywhere. And,
oh, no.
Yeah, right.
This is Cedric?
Yeah, he had more than a hickey, yeah.
This was Cedric.
It was Cedric, yeah. And Mom and Dad had not gotten there yet, so I went in and did what I was supposed to do, get the bandages and, try to stop the bleeding and try to stop him from crying. And, of course, that drew the attention of other folks on the other outside, and they come off the front porch, and big trouble I was in. Around about that time, my mom and dad came. Both of us was jumping off the bed. My younger brother had the injury, but my daddy took it all out on me. You know what?
You knew better.
Absolutely.
You knew better.
Chauvin knew better. There's no leniency for someone who knew better. My daddy, boy, I'm going to tell you, he took off his belt and began to wailing on my behind. By the way, he didn't know this, but I was crushed anyway because my brother was bleeding, it was hurting. I deserved every bit of it. I think if I cried more for my younger brother than the licks on my butt. Really did. I love my brother. The fact that happened did not make me feel good either, but that wasn't enough. I knew better. Ro. And when you know better, more should be expected of you. And because more is expected of you and you do it anyway, your penalty should be far worse.
Amen.
Which brings me to Derek Chauvin. Every officer who does something that results in breaking his oath to you and I, society, the people that he swear to serve and protect, under the color of law, committing that crime, he should get far worse. It should be double what the rest of us should get. I'm going to give out some sentences of some individuals who've received now, especially African Americans for shooting cops, or even just or killing cops. I'm talking 300 years, 400 years. Don't get me wrong, probably rightly so in my book. But if they get that, and they're criminals, and here you have law enforcement who know that they're not supposed to do this. It should be double. So here's Judge Cahill, who is now divvying out his infinite wisdom when it came down. By the way, we ended the show before we actually got the sentencing. So here is he's now explaining to we, the audience, his decision-making skills as to why it was that one Derek Chauvin did not get the recommended 30 years max. Only 30 years max, go figure. Just listen to his explanation.
I'm not going to attempt to be profound or clever because it's not the appropriate time. I'm not basing my sentence also on public opinion. I'm not basing it on any attempt to send any messages. A trial court judge, the job of a trial court judge is to apply the law to specific facts and to deal with individual cases. And so, Mr. Chauvin, as to count one, based on the verdict of the jury finding you guilty of unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony under Minnesota Statute 609.19 subdivision 2 paren 1, it is the judgment of the court that you now stand convicted of that offense. Pursuant to Minnesota Statute section 609.04, counts 2 and 3 will remain unadjudicated as they are lesser offenses of count 1. As sentenced for count 1, the court commits you to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections for a period of 270 months. That's 270. That is a 10-year addition to the presumptive sentence of 150 months. This is based on your abuse of a position of trust and authority, and also the particular cruelty shown to George Floyd. You are granted credit for 199 days already served. Pay the mandatory surcharge of $78 to be paid from prison wages. You're prohibited from possessing firearms, ammunition, or explosives for the remainder of your life. Provide a DNA sample as required by law. Register as a predatory offender as required by law. And then you will receive a copy of the order and also the attached memorandum explaining the court's analysis. Anything further from the state?
Yeah. When are you going to give the guy what he deserves? When are you going to do that, Judge? You can't do that because now you're hiding behind the actual law, right? So 22.5 years.
Yes.
Time served already got 190 months, so that means out of that 270 months, he's already had, 6 months? Somewhere in there. 6 months now, he's taken off that because he's already been incarcerated for those 6 months.
Yeah, 199 days.
Basically known that it's suggested that he'll be out in 15 years after murdering a man. After deliberately murdering a man, when the man said that you're killing me, and he responded, yeah. Here's a guy who knew what murder brings, because after all, he was, 14-year veteran? And that's all he got. Judge, you didn't have to send the message. What you should have done was just simply use the max. By the way, that's one, I guess, caveat in all this, that there's some other cases against one Derek Chauvin. The feds are now investigating civil rights violations, and they, too, can come up with a verdict of guilty if, in fact, they have the trial and find him guilty. Mm-hmm. They can then sentence him either concurrently or consecutively. My hope would be consecutively. Then there's the other case, I understand, that they dug back up involving a Latino that was, in fact, murdered, killed.
And the federal trial will be a lot like what we just witnessed, except it will not be televised, but a jury will decide the verdict and a judge will hand down the sentence.
So go to our Facebook page. Let us know what you think about the verdict, period. I think it's a miscarriage of justice. I really do, folks. I think, you do want to send a message like you send a message to the rest of society when you announce that someone has been found guilty and sentenced. You do understand it is punishment for them and a warning for us. That's the whole idea of public execution. Just ask Cindy Hingham High Smith. "15 years. Really, do you know, I know guys that's in there for a matchbox of marijuana, still in there, 30-some-odd years. He tortured this man for at least 3 minutes out of the 9 minutes that he lay there. He stayed on George Floyd's neck. Even deliberately saying to his fellow officers, "No, I'm not getting off. No, well, don't you think we should turn him over? You think we should check his pulse?" Did absolutely nothing.
Stay there.
And then there's the trial of the other three. I don't doubt that they're going to seek to cop a plea before it's all over. But I want you to hear Derek Chauvin. I want you to hear this guy, because my biggest question for you, my audience, and you have a tendency to be extraordinarily genius in your approach to these things. This is the first time you really heard this guy's voice. Weak man. Very weak man. Short, Napoleonic complex, no doubt. But he sounds exactly like, the kind of guy that would take advantage of an unarmed, handcuffed giant just to prove a point. He's the kind of guy who thinks that that's equal. And some of you would say it's the equivalent. Look at him; he's a big, powerful man. You got him down. You got to manhandle him, rough him up a bit. I think that's what the double impeached Donald John said. But I'm curious about what he meant when he was asked by the judge if he had any comments before the judge divvied out his sentence. Here, listen to this closely.
At this time, due to some additional legal matters at hand, I'm not able to give a full formal statement at this time. But very briefly, though, I do want to give my condolences to the Floyd family. There's going to be some other information in the future that would be of interest, and I hope things will give you some peace of mind. Thank you.
What did he mean by
that? I
that?
did read your comments.
What did he mean by some other information to the Floyd family that will give him some peace of mind? What do you think he meant? Yeah, look, I want to reserve the phones for that. What do you think he meant by that? I want to cue that up again. We're going to come back. We're going to play it. Could you play it? I want to hear that again. I want to hear him. You had the music on you. I want you, because he said this, and it was like, what? There's gonna come some information that might give you some peace of mind. So what is he talking about?
Here he is.
At this time, due to some additional legal matters at hand, I'm not able to give a full formal statement at this time. But very briefly, though, I do want to give my condolences to the Floyd family. There's going to be some other information in the future that would be of interest, and I hope things will give you some peace of mind.
So,
Thank you.
Ruby Randy, what do you think he meant by that? What do you think he meant by that? Because he said it right. He turned and looked at him and said there's going to be some additional information that I hope can give some peace of mind.
After addressing the Floyd family directly.
I don't know. We'll be back.
Get the info. Get the info.
Stay informed. It's a new day with Rip Daniels, the #1 talk show in South Mississippi on JZ 94.5.
Just like a bird, I just wanna fly free. And I own a piece of land somewhere off in a country. Oh, yeah. Listen.
A coward dies 1,000 deaths. A soldier dies but once.
Temperatures like 100 degrees. Like I got chains on me. Blackmail in the family of 3. Been right on my destiny. Reckon I'll fly away. Cause it's too much for the man. Shouldn't have gone down this way. What happened to my master plan? Cause I can't figure out. I could have been a love child. Shouldn't have gone down this way. Tell me, how did I get lost?
A coward dies 1,000 deaths. A soldier dies but once.
Talk to me.
A coward dies 1,000 deaths. A soldier dies but once.
You know, folks, this is the Jesse Williams song. This is about the only time that we've been able to find that a law enforcement officer actually received a life sentence right here in Harrison County. Right here. And that's to the credit of District Attorney Kono Karana and some extraordinary work done by the Highway Patrol, my friend over there in Pastor Stan. He knows who I'm talking about. My favorite postman. And some other individuals, the local law enforcement. For those of you who don't know, and that's why I called it the Jesse Williams song, it's by, of course, Casey and JoJo. It's called Life. By the way, good morning. I'm Rip Daniels, and the show is called It's a New Day. One rule, no such thing as a right or wrong opinion, but when my audience hears that song, they know that someone has done someone's wrong in my view. But Jesse Williams was beaten to death in the Harrison County Jail. And it was one of the first times that we actually started the countdown, like you're hearing now with LaMelo, because there was a lack of information and prosecution. And I dare say, had it not been for this broadcast, I dare say that it probably would have been, I don't think it would have been swept under the rug, but it would have been a lackluster pursuit. We maintain quite vigilance in making sure that those involved in this crime were brought to justice. We, along with, I don't mind telling you, with some many others, the attorney for the family, Crosby, and of course some other witnesses that we were able to chat with. But the long and short of it, it was in this county that an officer right now is serving life for the torture of one Jesse Williams. Life. And I don't mind telling you that deputy was also the son of a prominent judge. That speaks volumes about justice in this county at that time, with one district attorney, Kono Karana. I can tell you that right now. And it also speaks volumes about the kind of police work and the kind of honor that was then bestowed upon law enforcement, both the sheriff's office and local law enforcement, Gulfport Police Department, because there were some implications there as well. It was there were 9 officers involved with this beating. 9 officers. Beating / cover-up. So don't tell me it can't happen, that you can't get, that somehow or another from those who better is expected, you can't get the sentence comparable. Now, Jesse Williams is dead, and the person serving that time is now still doing life, I assume, unless something else has happened. But I looked at what happened to one George Floyd, and I look at what happened to Jesse Williams, hog-tied, hands tied behind his back, shackled, spit bag over his head. Jesse Williams died in the hospital. Floyd was dead on that pavement when they picked him up. Now that speaks volumes, but it also says that, okay, where there is a will, there is a way to do this. And I'm sorry, but that didn't happen in Minneapolis, Ro.
No.
It did not happen in Minneapolis. It did not happen in Minneapolis. I'm not happy about it at all. So I want to go back to this. We're going to play it again, so cue it up. I'm going to get the rest of you guys on the phone, but what do you think, Ro? What did Derek Chauvin mean by that?
I'm still trying to figure. I've been trying to figure it out all weekend, and I just can't get my mom calling me. She's like, "What the hell was he talking about?" I said, "Mom, I don't know." But
I have an idea.
Yeah, I think that he thinks somehow in this federal trial or civil case or whatever, more information possibly about maybe the previous relationship between Chauvin and Floyd will be revealed, and an antagonistic one at that.
But it's going to give the family more peace?
Well, yeah,
and by the way, he did not apologize. He just offered condolences.
Right.
That's like saying, well, sorry
he did.
Yeah.
Sorry he did.
I'm sorry y'all having to tolerate the guy who died, but you know.
Yeah. So I mean, I honestly have no idea. I thought I had
take a guess.
I mean, I'm thinking like maybe something having to do with.
Is he suggesting that someone else did it,
or drug use on Floyd's part, or something? I don't think he's suggesting someone else did it. I mean, it's obvious. We saw what happened. In gruesome detail. We saw.
I wouldn't put it past him.
But I just think that he's framing this like it's going to be some kind of big reveal. So previously undisclosed information is what I'm getting from what he said. But that would be the only thing I could think of, either something that Floyd did previously in their relationship or previously that day that could maybe, or at least in Chauvin's mind, justify his actions, his murder.
All right, let's go to the phones, 228-896-9455. Look, no one else is speculating on it, and you, my audience, are extraordinarily bright. What do you think he meant by this? And what is it? Do you know something I don't? I know that there's 3 more trials. They're going to be tried all together, the other 3 officers. He did say that he couldn't give a complete statement because there's other legal matters he's got to deal with. Of course, it's already been appealed. The case has been appealed. But he said that there's going to be some other information, just kind of looking back there at them, that's going to probably give them some solace, some peace. All right, Miss Faye, I promise you we're going to come to you. Well, see what you think. Also, Herbie and the rest of you guys standing in line, we'll get you. We'll be back.
If you missed it, check out It Is a New Day with Rip Daniels on Podbeam, YouTube, and itisanewday.com. When you don't listen, you listen.
Straight out of ATL. Got young one, chopping that thing, baby. Swiss beats, full surface. Come on. Come on. Come on.
When I'm drunk in the club, I might just start. Block party in the hood, I might just start. Underground downtown, I might just start. Give me the keys to the city, I'ma lock this. They ain't gonna take me alive, and you can bet.
All right, folks, good morning to you. Rip Daniels here. Show it starts a new day. There's only one rule. No such thing as a right or wrong opinion. Kind of go to the Miami and the collapse there as well. Kind of a lot to fill you in today. Whole lot here, folks. I'm looking at a double life sentencing for a cop killer just in Arkansas. You heard me right, double life. Plus, double life plus 835 years. He ain't never getting out, bro.
Never, ever.
You shoot a cop, I'm going to tell you, man. However, when a cop shoots a civilian, he gets 15 years. Or when he tortures and murders a civilian, he gets 15 years. Go figure that. 228-896-9455. I want to go to Miss Faye. Miss Faye, good morning. What do you think Chauvin meant by what he said?
I think it was all bull. Because he did not know what to say, and he didn't offer no condolences. That was just lip service.
But what do you think he meant? But he said something. He said there's going to be other information. So you think he was just playing around?
I think that the only way you get be of information if they mess with the video and try to change it up to where he wanted to be or to what he wanted to look like. Because I believe my eyes, more so than his bull jive trying to say that it's something else that was going on. If it's something else going on, he was jealous of that man because they said that they worked together.
So what do you think about the sentence?
Think that George got ahead more than he did.
So
and he was liked more on the job.
Yeah. So what do you think about 22 years, 22 and a half years sentence?
Well, I'm just like this. I would say that he should have life without the possibility of parole. And since you said they added 800 years on to the parole to that other man, he should be given the same thing. Because George Floyd is dead, and he is never coming back. And you think about his daughter missing her daddy like that. And he was a dad that paid attention to his child. So anything, and then plus the fact sometimes prison have its own justice.
All right, Miss Faye. No doubt when Chauvin gets into wherever he's locked up, he's going to be a trustee right off the bat. I guarantee you he'll work in the library. Or, in other words, he's not going to be in general population, ladies and gentlemen. He's not. and that would be I understand why. However, you do realize that there are, in fact, prison guards who have an opinion about this, Ro.
Oh, yeah.
The guards themselves. So, Derek needs to pay very close attention. You had brought up the man I mentioned. This was a sentence in Arkansas of DeMarcus Donald Parker, 27 years old. He was found guilty back in 2018 in the fatal shooting of Officer Oliver Johnson, who's 25 years old. Now, Officer Johnson was an off-duty cop. He was off-duty cop. And what's interesting about this is how much time he got and then how this all unfolded. According to investigators, Parker fired his weapon from a vehicle toward a rival gang member when a stray bullet entered Johnson's home and fatally struck the officer, killing Johnson. He lived there in Memphis, and he was an officer with the Forest City Police Department. He was off duty. One could say, obviously, there's no doubt it was thuggery, but the target was not the officer.
Not a direct confrontation with the officer.
He fired in the direction the stray bullet entered Johnson's house and killed Johnson. Parker was found guilty of murder in the first degree. Unlawful discharge of a firearm from a vehicle in the first degree. 6 counts of attempted murder in the first degree. Now, 6 counts was basically the gang members. He was attempting to kill them. And 15 counts of unlawful discharge of a firearm from a vehicle in the second degree. They threw the book at him, Ro.
Yeah, and then they found a whole nother library of books, and they threw all those books at him, too.
He was given 30 years for each of the 6 counts of attempted murder in the first degree, while he received 20 years for each charge of unlawful discharge. He also was given an additional 10 years for committing the felonies in the presence of a child. In the presence of a child. Wasn't a child sitting there on the sidewalk when Derek Chauvin killed George Floyd?
At least one.
Of course, this was in Arkansas. Similar charges were pending against his co-defendant in that shooting. But the reality here is that no, he was not. The officer was not cognizant of what was happening until it happened. So for that, he received 2 life sentences plus 835 years. That's what the judge gave him. Oh, you want some more double standard? I can give you several. The FBI was shot in Jackson there over the weekend. He was one of the, just in Jackson, I think we got, 3? In total, I think we beat Chicago's close to 3 million people, didn't we? You count the ones...
As far as those killed?
Yeah, those killed. Jackson, I think there was 2 in the Delta. Thank God we didn't have any in Gulfport or Biloxi, did we? I don't think. Not in Moss Point either, huh?
Not that I'm aware of just yet.
I hope not. However, when you look at the amount of wounded and the numbers of dead in those 3 million population, it makes sense, doesn't it? Hang on, Herbie. I promise you we're going to get you when we come back. And we got a lot more fish to fry. We'll be back.
WJZD FM Long Beach, Moss Point, Bay St. Louis, the all-new JZ 94.5.
Here it is, the official Monday morning love song. My way of saying good morning to those who had a very rainy, wet weekend. You may not get all you want, but what you get,
tell me what you say now.
Need to be happy
what
for.
You say, come again. If you cannot stay down, then you do not have to pretend like there is no way out. I should've never let you in, 'cause you got me face down. And don't I don't need you. I don't need
but I
you.
want it.
I don't need you, but I want you. I don't mean to. I don't mean to. I don't mean to. I don't mean to, but I love you. Tell me what you say now. Tell me what you say. You said that you would come again.
So you're not getting juicy, you're getting real now, huh?
I mean, juice dries sometimes, and then it's sticky.
You may not need it, but you want it. Don't take it personal. Time for a male secret here. You know, when it really comes down to it, everything is personal. Everything is personal. The reality, however, is how you take it and how you give it. Just saying. No way in the world you can ever deal with anyone and not be personal. Just keep in mind that is yours. You cannot. What's more important, that you love or that you are loved, and which do you know for sure? You can only know but one, and that is that you do love. You can only guess at the rest. May not need it, but nothing wrong with wanting it. What? You all right with that? Did I give out too much?
Nah, hell no.
Okay. 228-896-9455. That's the number to call. The show is called It's a New Day. There's only one rule: no such thing as a right or wrong opinion. So now we had a Negro hunter in Massachusetts, of all places, and he found 2 Negroes as victims. And he did what the great white hunter would do. Yeah, you heard me right. And I'm not saying it out of victimization. I'm saying it and sharing with you so you guys will know that they're still out here now. There's no doubt about that. Let's go ahead and play the story, then I'll go to the phones here. So I understand it was a retired state trooper who was killed.
Decorated state trooper.
And a veteran.
Yeah, and
former Air Force sergeant.
Right. Here's how the caper came down.
Investigators say he shot both of these black victims several times each in the head and in the back. They also say he would write about the superiority of the white race. One day after 2 black people were shot to death in Winthrop following this crash, Suffolk County DA Rachel Rollins says the shooter was tied to white supremacy rhetoric. He's been identified by investigators as 28-year-old Nathan Allen of Winthrop.
This guy wanted to go after black people or people of color. He wanted to kill anyone he could.
The 2 victims have been identified as 58-year-old Dave Green, a retired Mass State Police trooper, and 60-year-old Ramona Cooper, an Air Force veteran. Rollins says Allen, who lived in a 3rd-floor apartment in town with his wife, had a Ph.D., had no criminal history, and legally owned a gun. Investigators say Allen stole a plumbing truck Saturday afternoon, was speeding down the street when he crashed into this building and then opened fire, killing the 2 victims. An officer then shot and killed Allen.
Houses of worship for Jewish people are right around these corners. We don't know where he was going. That is mere speculation. We do know he had anti-Semitic rhetoric written in his own hand.
Rollins says several people tried to help the suspect after the crash, but he only shot the black people.
What I can tell you, ma'am, at this early stage is he walked by several other people that were not black, and they are alive. They were not harmed.
And investigators say there is no more threat here to this community now that that suspect is dead. There will be some counseling services made available here in Winthrop over the next several days. We're live in Winthrop tonight. I'm Catherine Sotnick, NBC 10 Boston.
So this white inferior's had a Ph.D. Crashed a truck into a building and then say, where the black people at? Where they at? And of course they were easy to find in this city of 94% Caucasian. The only 2 African Americans that came along was a former state trooper and a sergeant in the United States military, retired, 60 years old. He found him, he killed him. Shot him in the head and then shot him in the spine. That's assassination style. Yep. This PhD here is married. Says here he's married, he's employed, was employed. Just, I guess, became indoctrinated. Too much Fox News. or whatever. However, he's dead now, and very quickly they squashed it to say, well, there was no reason to think otherwise. That he was he operated alone. How did they come to that conclusion so quickly?
Yeah,
within 24 hours.
Right. The idea that the officers would announce to the public, all is well now. He wasn't working in concert with anybody else.
Why didn't they just round up all the other Caucasian PhDs around him?
Right.
Who does they didn't even check his family. Nothing.
Who does he cavort with? Who was he online talking to?
Nathan Allen. It makes me really, you got to check out all the Allens here. Wonder if he has any kin. Really, that's what you do when you're doing an investigation.
It's worth a look.
And here he is, a state trooper. Look at that, brother. 28-year-old Nathan Allen. And by the way, he's a young PhD. He's a young PhD. What did he get his PhD in, bro? You know? Let me guess. Philosophy, maybe? I don't know. All right, 228-896-9455. Hang on, Herbie. I'm going to get you, but since I'm on that, I need to tell you about a suspect who was captured, African-American, captured, cop killer, cop shooter. The police officer, thank God, did not die. Jason Raynord, 26 years old, had his surgery, and he's expecting to recover. But this guy Wallace, this happened in Daytona Beach here, folks. This guy named Othal Wallace, 29 years old, he was captured. He was hiding in a treehouse that was owned by a group, the NFAC. Now, this is a pro-gun group known for doing demonstrations against white supremacy. And it's been suggested that these are one of the groups that showed up there in Tulsa, the brothers with the guns. And the question is how was it that he was able to find and be hidden or hid in that treehouse? Of course, he's going to be returned to Florida. The officers credited surveillance and technology with leading the police to where Wallace was. That was a $200,000 reward. But it's very interesting as to whether or not there's going to be recourse against the pro-gun group. Interesting situation there. What do you think about that, Ro?
Yeah, between that and what happened there in Colorado, a lot of question on how we manage our firearms here, and it's really a good thing though, because as these cases come up, more scrutiny hopefully will be put on how we do manage our guns in this country, or don't.
Well, it seems like there's not. All right, very quickly before I go to Herbie, I want you to play Derek Chauvin one more time, because that really was very, very curious as to why he said what he said the first time he had said anything to the Floyd family. And I wonder what he meant by it, and we're asking you, what do you think he meant by it?
At this time, due to some additional legal matters at hand, I'm not able to give a full formal statement at this time. But very briefly, though, I do want to give my condolences to the Floyd family. There's going to be some other information in the future that would be of interest, and I hope things will give you some peace of mind. Thank you.
I'll note that I did read your comments.
So he had other comments to the judge. Judge is saying then that he had read the comments, so those comments are not going to be revealed, I guess.
Right, those comments were specifically for the judge.
Some more information coming that might give you some peace of mind. So what do you think it is? I want to go to Herbie. Herbie, so what do you think Chauvin meant by that?
Well, I don't really pay attention to that. I think that's the media paying attention, tricking us.
Excuse me, brother. What you just heard. What you just heard was him.
A certain way for him. I think the news we should have is that he just got life and going to be put away.
No, that's not what you got. What you got was him saying that
that's what it should be. We shouldn't be hearing no apology or anything. The way he done that on international stage and all the money and all the stuff that happened behind him doing it.
Well, but he did it already.
He's going to. They should be executing him, really.
So you have no opinion of what he meant. So you have no opinion of what
I feel about it.
You have no opinion of what he meant by that. That there's going to be further information that will give him some peace.
Because he's a confused man anyway. I wouldn't even try to dig deep in somebody here like that.
He's confused.
Real.
The man's a murderer,
I would
brother.
say that,
The man's a murderer. He's
Yeah.
confused. He's not confused.
Okay.
He's a murderer.
well, you see how justice played it for him. You know, it's still that white man's favor. He still didn't get what he should have gotten.
Well, he certainly
yeah.
didn't get it.
No,
But
we say
obviously,
that,
you figure he was confused. It wasn't a murder, so maybe that's
It's
why.
that same justice system with the little 4-month-old baby. Justice delayed is justice. Delayed is just not justice anyway. Because for a simple reason, it should be on international news right now. But I see your guy Biden is often dropping bombs already and not even addressing the black problem we got here with the police over in America.
What do you mean not addressing the? What do you mean not addressing the problem? Did you not hear out last time I hung up on you when you just failed to mention that the African American female has now taken over the Justice Department and has opened up cases, and had actually filed a case against Derek Chauvin?
Justice delayed, real. That's
What?
just an excuse.
Brother, do you really want me to just push this button and
know
hang up?
it is what
Are
it
you
is.
just deliberately being
make nothing
dumb,
out
or
of
you
it.
just don't want to hear it? You just Herbie the hater. You
How
just
do you think they get off, real?
well. The point is because of ignorance like yours. This is just ignorant what you're saying. You do realize that the cases were dropped. The guy you voted for dropped all the cases the feds had against cops who killed black people. You do realize that.
What they gonna sit on the shelf? Like,
man, I'm not gonna waste time with you, brother. I don't get any joy out of making you look stupid, man. I really don't. And I wish someone would let you know that. I don't have no grudge with you, but if you're gonna talk, go ahead and come out and first give your prejudices that you scared of somebody or whatever. I know that you have some kind of agenda. But, to have this conversation every day with you, and look, I told Ro, look, we're just gonna. I mean, you were in Category B, File 9 a time or two, and I said, well, come on. We might disagree, but once I realize that someone is not interested in hearing or having any kind of cognitive debate, but they just want to ramble on and off, I don't. What? Now I don't want the cookie. Why are you waving it?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, looking out for your sugar.
What do you mean? Would you think you think that's the reason why I stayed on that long? I don't have to have that cookie. I mean, I like talking to the brother. I mean, I really want to hear what the brother has to say, but it just, after the first 3 sentences, it becomes obvious. So Derek Chauvin says there's going to be more information that will give you peace. What could that be that would give the Floyd family peace? It's a pretty easy question. So what would give the Floyd family more peace now?
George Floyd died peacefully under Derek Chauvin's knee. I mean, I
think he's going to commit suicide.
Chauvin?
Hmm? Huh. I think there's a possibility. I want to play it again.
There's always a possibility.
I want you to play it again because first, I think that the man is humiliated. Now he's wearing that orange, someone else's orange jumpsuit in jail, whether he likes it or not. Now he might not be in the general population, but
well, yeah. And speaking of that, you after I play this, you mentioned something Friday about what happened after the sentencing or what didn't happen.
Right.
And I want you to expound on that. But here's Chauvin's statement again.
At this time, due to some additional legal matters at hand, I'm not able to give a full formal statement at this time. But very briefly, though, I do want to give my condolences to the Floyd family. There's going to be some other information in the future that would be of interest, and I hope things will give you some peace of mind. Thank you.
Things will give you some peace of mind.
Okay, so now okay.
Yeah, but when we went off, ladies and gentlemen, I was watching after the judge gave the sentence. Typically, when that happens, and especially when the judge asked the prosecutors whether they had any other comments, where the prosecutor stood up and said, "I want to have him immediately remanded, to the jail." Well, typically what happens thereafter is that he's handcuffed. That happened right after the jury found him guilty. He was handcuffed, put his hands behind his back. He didn't do it this time. If you run back the film and you take a look at what transpired. Derek Chauvin stood up after hearing the sentence and turned, and the officers escorted him through that door without handcuffs.
Buttons his sport coat, heads directly out with the bailiff.
Right. He was not handcuffed. Now, I don't know what that's symbolic of, but that tells me.
But you do think it's symbolic.
I think it's a leniency. I think that those guards or officers who were with him decided not to put in their 2 cents. Typically, that happens. I want you to know when officers feel a certain kind of way about how a trial went, and there is a defendant who's been found guilty, and they want him found guilty, they'll move right in and go, okay, yeah, don't say anything, just turn around and give him your hands. They want to send a message to we, the viewers, because all of this was televised. But he didn't. He went back, buttoned his jacket, and was escorted to the door. Never once did they pull out the cuffs on him. That was after he said what he said, though. And but the only thing that can give, I thought to myself, it was give you some peace. The only thing I can think that the Floyd family would give the Floyd family some peace, besides the $27 million they got him.
The death of Derek Chauvin?
Yeah. I know it would give me some peace. It really would. It would be, okay, yeah, all right. All right. If it's one thing you did honorably, it was that. 228-896-9455. A lot of people standing in line. We're going to get Hassan, and then we'll go to Melissa. Good morning, Hassan.
How you doing, Britt?
Doing well, sir.
All right, yeah. First of all, we had talked about this just before the verdict ripped, and I got a feeling that when he made that announcement as far as there's going to be more to come, based on what he was saying, this is just something that his lawyer had just instructed him. Well, I ain't going to say his lawyer instructed him to say it, but it's something they've been leading him to believe that, we could probably get you off on this thing. I don't want to see him get off, but I feel like it was a slap in the face when they gave him 22 years in the first place.
What do you think he should have received?
He should have got the same thing that Ryan Till got.
Yeah.
Think about it. We watched what Ryan Till. We didn't see what Ryan Till did. Right. We watched him before he took the guy Jeff Williams behind the booking door, and only knows how they did it or whatever. But we watched every step of the way the way he did to George Floyd, and all he got was 22 years. Another thing, as far as the lawsuit to 27, I wish the lawsuit and everything could have happened after the verdict.
Yeah.
Because by them giving this money to the family before the verdict, that gave them a little more leeway. Okay, now we can, be a little more lenient with the sentence because they'll appeal, they'll pause. Now, they've been appealed in a certain way.
So you think Chauvin meant that there was going to be something that will clear him, or suggest that George Floyd killed himself, or? So what did you mean by saying that his lawyer led him to believe that there was another out?
Well, there again, like I said, with the sentence being as lenient as it was, it's not going to clear him. But I'm sure the ropes they're trying to jump right now, it's not. We're not going to see exactly what's going to happen. But I don't think that I think the 22 years is supposed to be reduced down to 15 after good behavior or whatever, or 8 years or whatever.
Yeah.
I got a feeling it's going to be less than that, real. And this is what Derek Chauvin is, because you can just look at his body language and just say, okay, look here, I'm a man who committed a crime, but guess what? Because of who I am, because of my team, all of my lawyers, I'm going to beat this thing. That's the whole body language that he had throughout this whole trial.
All right,
that's what I saw.
All right, Mr. Hassan, appreciate you calling. Let me see the hands of those who were in mixed company when the verdict came down, and Caucasian African Americans, and did you see a difference? Was this something like the O.J. Simpson thing in some cases, you think?
I do. I think that there were groups who were gathered just for this. A lot of those social experiments like we saw for O.J.'s trial, which I witnessed along with the Bronco chase for some crazy reason inside a classroom.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Can I go to Miss Melissa? Hi, Miss Melissa. How you?
Hey, Rep, how you doing?
I'm doing excellent.
I think he was being facetious. We're talking about Derek Chauvin, who, with his knee and very arrogantly, had his knee on this man's neck and murdered this man. And I think that one more dig at the family, because if you heard his mother's testimony, who said absolutely nothing to the family, and then you heard him, it led me to believe that he was trying to take a dig. There's going to be information to come out, that's going to exonerate him, and give another reason why, George died. That's what I think. I think that he was just trying to give another reason on why he was trying, why he's going to be clear.
So that would he thinks that there's going to be other information to give them peace, meaning George Floyd was not killed. George Floyd had a heart attack and died, as most people do.
I think that he most definitely thinks he's going to be exonerated, and I think that what he said to the family was definitely another dig, and I think that he's so arrogant, and he and his attorney, that he will beat this case, and and I mean, what could give that family peace but you being at least locked up for the rest of your life? What could give them peace?
All right, Ms. Miller. Yep. I appreciate you calling. Good points. 228-896-9455. Mr. Ronnie, good morning.
Hi, Mr. Rip. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Mr. Ronnie.
You know that song you Roll always play, Goddamn Mississippi?
Yes.
Mississippi State baseball team.
Yeah.
Got one black person on the team.
I saw that.
Now, Mississippi got 82 counties. As big as Mississippi is, you can't find but one black baseball player, and he don't even play. He just got a uniform on.
Well, let me tell you.
The other night,
let me before you go further, let me just share this with you, Ronnie. It is unfortunate.
Okay.
It is unfortunate that young African Americans, males especially, are not going out for baseball. And by the way, I was a baseball player and football player. I enjoyed most baseball, and baseball to me is probably the most calculating sport you could play, and the most fierce, because you're sitting in front of someone who's going to throw a fastball at 100 miles an hour or so, and you can't.
That's real.
Yes, sir.
I coached baseball here in Jackson for 15 years.
All right.
I went to 3 state tournaments in Dixie youth baseball.
Mm-hmm. But what you're not seeing,
but
what you're not seeing, I'm not seeing those same African Americans in high school ball. I don't know why that is. I don't know whether it's the coaching in high schools, but I'm telling you, I actually talked with Bennett, who worked with the Shuckers here, about that very same thing. He's now got the Hank Aaron's, I think it's Hank Aaron's stadium over there in Mobile. He's said the same thing. It's just, it is so difficult to find young African Americans in going through high school and then pursuing baseball in college. And I don't know why. Have you found it to be the case or not?
Well, Mr. Rip, I do know that one of our historical parks here in Jackson, Grove Park, has went down. I will admit to that. But, Mr. Rip, we still, there are still kids out here that want to play baseball. You can go over on Lakeland Drive, and you see your little trickle of little black kids that's playing baseball. But, Mr. Rip, the thing that got me, they put him in so he could steal a base, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's at the end of the game, so he could steal a base. Now, he came around and scored the winning run. The whole team, Mr. Rip, ran past him to the guy who hit the ball that brought him in. They run past him. And if you look at any other time you see a winning run or a home run hit, everybody be at the plate waiting on the man that scored the winning run.
Well, there's no doubt if he stole a base, if he stole a base and got on third, obviously that put him in an excellent position. Look, I hear you loud and clear. However, so whoever hit the ball had a base hit. Was it a pop-up base hit, and the run came in?
No, it was a base hit. It was a base hit. Yeah, it was a base hit.
And the question is, had he not made a base hit, would the brother have made it to home plate?
Well, that's remained to. I mean, he won. I mean, his stealing a base helped.
Oh, absolutely.
Him to where he
absolutely.
You know,
I got your point.
He stole from first to second.
I got your point. There. Look, I got your point. There is no doubt. I mean, and you know, so what you're thinking is that okay? It was that was kind of contrived, and so how did he feel about that? I mean, did he upon hitting the touching home plate, did he run out there to congratulate the guy who batted him in?
He turned around and looked to see, you know, I mean, I guess he would think that somebody should have ran and congratulated him also.
Yeah.
But they ran past him to run out there near first base where the boy that hit the base hit. They ran out there and congratulated him. He didn't get any a chance to get interviewed.
Yeah. No accolades, I got you. Yeah, well, I mean, there's something to be said for runner batted in. Now there's no doubt that you know if that was the winning run, and I mean, had the brother stole home,
the ball was a pinch hitter.
Was a pitch hitter, yeah. Huh.
I mean, he was a pinch hitter.
Yeah, I got you. He did just put him in. He batted in place of someone else. What they did was he must have been a pretty good hitter. Yeah. Let me ask you this quickly. What do you think about Derek Chauvin here and what he meant by what he said?
I'm glad you asked me that, Mr. Rip. You know, I'm almost like your other caller. You know, it ain't nothing that would make me think that you could tell a family that's gonna get him some what he say, some peace of mind or something. If you the man that had your knee on the man's neck that killed him. I don't know what it is that you could have said or could say or any information that could come out that would make them have some peace of mind, you know. Right. And unlike that other caller, Mr. Rip, you know, they made it, you know, you hardly ever see somebody do a settlement before the verdict. You know, you hardly ever see that.
Well, you've had it on many other occasions that you've had that. Whenever you have Ben Crump involved in the case, trust me, a lot of times the settlement comes before the trial, if there even is a trial. I mean, he is. There's no doubt that. Mr. Crump is. He likes, he likes having that settlement, and I know that was the case with Breonna Taylor. That was a settlement, as opposed to a wrongful death trial. It could have been.
Okay, I can go with that.
Yeah.
But it's just something about, I think I for one, Mr. Rip, and this is just my own personal opinion, I think that he gonna be able to go back and get another trial. That's my opinion.
Oh.
I think he's gonna get another trial
Because of pre-trial publicity or something? Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. Appreciate you calling, Ronnie. Thank you very much. 228-896-9455. I told you it was going to happen, and it did happen. For those of you who concealed carry, those who are thinking that having that, you stop crime, well, the concealed carry guy got killed. by law enforcement. Hang on, Cal. You're next. We'll be back.
Get the info. Get the info.
Stay informed. It's a new day with Rip Daniels, the number one talk show in South Mississippi on Jay-Z 94.5.
You see, I come from Mississippi. I was young and running wild. Ended up in New York City, where I had my first child. I named the boy Nasir. All the boys call him Nas. I told him as a youngster, he'll be the greatest man alive.
Let's go.
I'm the magnificent.
That's Nas and his daddy. Bridging the gap.
Hey, Chuck Berry of this rap skit. Styles I mastered. Many brothers snatched it up and tried to match it. But
All right, folks, good morning to you. Rip Daniels here. Thank you for joining us. The show is called It's a New Day. There's only one rule. There's no such thing as a right or wrong opinion. You know, it's just incredible what kind of craziness we've got here. I told you this was going to happen, and it's not the first time. Denver, Colorado, a man who intervened in a shooting that killed a police officer near Denver was also shot and killed by a responding officer. That man was holding the assailant's AR-15 when the other officer showed up. It's a horrible situation. But for those of you who are concealed carry, you just think, okay, yeah, you have gun, will carry, and that you see someone shoot someone as if somehow or another someone can see you and see you shoot that person and not think that you're the assailant. This is the folly of having too many damn guns on the street, and you guys in law enforcement are going to get yourselves killed. It's the reason why they had gun control going back to the 1930s. Bonnie and Clyde killed 9 police officers. It's crazy. It's pathetic. So now John Hurley, who's been described by police as a hero, he prevented further bloodshed. He shot the suspect, Ronald Torkey, on Monday after Torkey gunned down an officer, Officer Gordon Blesley. Shot him with a 12 gauge. So Johnny Hurley, concealed carry guy, killed Ronald Torkey. After Ronald Torkey, with a shotgun, semi-automatic shotgun, killed Officer Gordon Blesley. Then the other officer showed up, seeing Johnny Hurley holding an AR-15, to which that officer killed Johnny Hurley. Too many damn guns. After shooting Beasley twice, Torkey shot out the windows of the police car in the city's downtown district, returned to his truck to get his AR-15 and was confronted by Hurley, who shot him with a handgun. When an officer arrived, Hurley was holding Torkey's AR-15. The officer fired on Hurley.
Good guy with a gun.
Come on, folks. Don't you see what conservatives have done? It's made this in the Dodge City, for God's sake. They complain about people getting killed. Oh, look, in Chicago and Mississippi shot. Well, what do you think happens when you thereby seek to put more guns on the street? And look out, our neighbor, Louisiana. Thank goodness they've got a Democratic governor, or at least one that's common sense. I don't know how Democratic he is. Not that it makes a difference. John Bel Edwards vetoed, I repeat, vetoed a bill that was passed in the Louisiana legislature that would have not required concealed carry permits and training. He had to veto this bill. It had passed unanimously. Well, it wasn't unanimous. It was overwhelmingly in a conservative legislature. Senate Bill number 118. It would have allowed anyone 21 and older to carry a concealed firearm without a permit. The current law requires that you've got to have a permit and so forth. So he vetoed it, so now they're looking at having a special session. They really believe in their minds this is the cure. It's just stupid. And I'm a gun owner many times over, ladies and gentlemen. But the idea of putting more weapons out there is not the answer. Can I go to Miss Veronica? Good morning, Miss Veronica. You want to weigh in on the Derek Chauvin? No, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
No, baseball game.
On the game. Okay, very good. Please do.
Yes, I just want to touch back. My son played baseball for years, and it is been a known fact that they do use it like guys to just run the bases. And I can let the guy who knows you just spoke to that does happen. Whoever at bat, when they score the winning run, which he's the hitter, they do run to him first because actually he's the one who actually won the game, not the runner. Now they do use a lot of the young black guys to run the bases. For some reason, we just known to be faster. You may never get a bat, but you will run the bases.
Does that bother you at all, Veronica? Do you think that's ethnocentric? That's kind of a bigoted way of doing it?
I have a problem. I have a problem with that because they can strike out. They can have a strikeout record that's lower than, God knows what, and they can still be in the lineup. But a lot of the black guys who's fast, when you do your lineup, you need them. So you're not even thinking about giving them a chance to bat. You're thinking about just winning a game.
Right.
And coaches, they don't do that. They never really give them a chance.
So you're suggesting, Ms. Veronica, that they will just have maybe some African Americans who are just on the team to run the bases?
Oh, absolutely.
Huh? So their whole quest is not to go to bat or even be an outfielder or infielder. It's just in case we need a speed demon to run the bases.
Yes, absolutely. You can be on a roster, be on the team actually, not the roster, but the team to be there just to run the bases. You may never not even get in the lineup.
Let me ask you this. You seem to know about it. So have you found what I've found, and that is that young African Americans, by the time they get to high school, are either not as interested in baseball or just lose interest in it. Have you found that?
Well, you can lose interest. My son now, there were only two young black men on the team when he started playing baseball as T-ball, go for it.
Right.
And it was hard for a long time, and he never got in the company. There were no other parents ever brought their kids out there, and they throw you out there. That's the first place you go, and it is rough. He stuck with it throughout high school, but a lot of the guys lose interest because they never get an opportunity.
Right. I found that, and I appreciate you calling, Ms. Veronica. I found that coaching here in the South, actually, I found this that there is that there's a lot of nepotism. Coach's son and the sons. That they will be able to play no matter how good they are. I have seen that firsthand, especially when you're looking at just kind of community ball, but even in school. I've found that there is there's just a different machismo about it. Can I go to Cal, who's been extraordinarily patient? Good morning, Mr. Cal.
Good morning, Rick. How you doing?
Great.
I just had two things. One, I speak on Derek Chauvin.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what he was saying is that he was going to take responsibility, that he might have made a formal apology, admitting guilt to it. What he did, like the light has went off and he realized what he did was wrong. And he can't speak and give a formal apology right now because he said he has a civil case. So if he admits that what he did was wrong and he realized that what he's wrong and caused a lot of pain, that would automatically make him guilty in a civil trial.
Well, let me ask you, don't you think someone who is contrite, don't matter what they stand to lose, they're contrite. A man who is sorry is not considering himself at all. You know what I mean? It's like...
Okay, that's my second thing.
Uh-huh.
That's white fragility. White people don't look at racism the same way you look at it. I came across something last night that kind of set up a light. The white people, just like say, when you left the house as a kid, you were told to watch out for the police, don't do this, don't do that, don't go here, all the rules that you had. White people don't get them rules. They in their own bubble, just doing whatever they want to do with no problem. So their time when they're growing up has no knowledge of how you came up or the racism that you endured or that you experienced racism, because the only thing they seen, they figure you living like the Huxtables. or either living like the Evans. Those are the only ideas they have of how you live in your culture if they have not visited you. The white people, but I'm going to say Americans, the Caucasian Americans, that live close in our neighborhoods, that deal with us, that enjoy our culture, that do what we do, that almost take over our culture. They have a good time dealing with us. The actual white people who want to remain white and enjoy their privilege that they know they have, that they try to act like they don't have, is what the fragility is. Anytime you say something to them, they're going to claim the victim.
Fragile. All right. Appreciate your calling, Kale. Hang on, CJ. Down the rest of you guys. We'll be back.
Get the info. Stay informed. It's a new day with Rip Daniels, the number one talk show in South Mississippi on Jay-Z 94.5.
And now, please rise for the singing of our national anthem. Fish don't fry in the kitchen. Beans don't burn on the grill. It took a whole lot of trying just to get up that hill. I said, but now we're up in the big.
All right, folks. Morning to you. Rip Daniels here. Can't believe the 16-year-old and 18-year-old were shot there in Jackson. Over the weekend here, folks. Both have non-life-threatening wounds, however. All right, 228-896-9455. That's the number to call. Quickly to the phones. A lot of people standing in line. I think, is it Ben or CJ? CJ's next, then Ben. Good morning, CJ.
Hey, good morning, Ms. Daniel. Could I, Ms. Daniel, when we get through, could I speak back to Roe, please?
Yes, please.
Okay. All I want to say quickly is, it might sound far-fetched, but I believe when he sit down and looked, and the lawyers probably told him too, you know you screwed up. We got to work with this to try to get you out of it. And when he sit down and looked at the whole world protesting, I believe he's going to come back and tell them, you know, I screwed up. I killed your family member. I really think he's going to tell them that. And the reason he can't say nothing now is because other people involved. There's other cases to be done. I just really think that. I think that the lawyers told him you screwed up. We're going to try to get you out. And when you sit down and look at people in France, Iraq, Japan, protesting this, when you shook the whole world up, but you killing somebody, that's just my far.
So you think that Derek Chauvin, after being on someone's neck 3 minutes after the man stopped moving, you think that he has a sympathetic or empathetic bone in his body?
No, I don't. I think that he figured it out that he screwed up. You see what I'm saying? I ain't saying he's sorry that he screwed
up. But by him saying he's sorry, that would make it that would probably go in his favor, not against him. I mean, what does he have to lose now? He's been sentenced.
Other people involved.
Oh.
Other officers. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I see. So you got the other three cases, of course, they're they hadn't turned state's evidence against him as of yet. And so, yeah, they're going to be trying to fight for their lives, but still.
I don't think it's that he came and sobbed and all that. I think just after he finished.
All right, CJ. Appreciate you calling 228-896. I'm sorry about that, CJ. I inadvertently pushed the wrong button. If you're listening, call Bro back. Maybe Bro has your number there. Can I go to Benjamin here? Where are you? Good morning, Mr. Benjamin.
Hey, good morning to the rest of your staff.
Yeah, I need you to turn your radio way down, Mr. Benjamin. You know the drill here.
Yeah. My bad. First about the Derek Chauvin situation. Hold on, I'm hearing something about the snowball. I think I'm being indoctrinated about the snowball.
Okay, you're going to get closer to your phone there, Ben. We can't hear you that well. I don't know if you got on speakerphone.
That's what I'm saying. I'm hearing something about the snowballs in the background from your side.
Oh, okay. Ro, you want to see what's happening there in the studio? All right, Ro, you need to... All right, go ahead.
Okay, but as far as the Derek Chauvin situation, there's nothing he can do to bring peace to the family. I mean, a couple of things that came to mind was maybe the family got more money coming or something, or either George Floyd maybe had some kind of terminal illness and he did what he did and stop them from suffering or something like that. I don't know. It really don't make sense because what he did was just unnecessary. But two other things, like when he was sentenced, what was he sentenced to? Because I thought I heard he was sentenced to the commission of something.
He was sentenced to 22 and a half years. The other charges that he was found guilty of were lesser charges, and so therefore, according to the laws of Minnesota, the only charge would be the greater charge. So it's not like he'll be sentenced for each of the charges.
But no, okay, for the 22 years, I don't understand for one thing why it wasn't mandatory. It doesn't seem to be mandatory for it to be a violent crime as it was. But also, I know you were saying that he wasn't handcuffed after the sentencing. Right. And I know, like, when the judge said he was sentenced to the commission of something, I've always known that you'll be sentenced to the department of this or the department of that. But for him to be sentenced to a commission of something, then that's probably why he wasn't handcuffed. And I also want to, if I can, speak on the LaMelo situation.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
I still don't understand why they let the dog loose to run around the car like they did.
Why?
I mean, I don't understand it because, like, what could a dog have done for them to let the dog loose run around the car?
Well, it's interesting you should say that. I'm curious as to whether or not the dog was let go because of anticipation of Smith getting out of the car. It's the only thing I can think of. Because when you see the dog makes its way all the way around the car. And then you see Smith put something out of the window or point something out of the window. And then they call the dog back. Are you still there, Ben? I'm sorry. Don?
Yes, Rip.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Now, Ben, I'm sorry if I got disconnected from you. Give us a call back if we didn't finish. Yeah, Don, I'm gonna get you to hang through the break. Okay? Can you do that?
No problem. No problem.
All right, well, hang tight. I'm gonna take a quick break. We'll go to you after Jazz at 11.
WJZD FM Long Beach, Pascagoula, Biloxi, the all-new JZ 94.5.
Time for Jazz at 11.
Mothership Connection. But not Parliament Funkadelic, folks. This version comes in 1990 from bassist Stanley Clarke and keyboardist George Duke. On the 3 album, in case you're wondering, just a little bit of jazz for you. Trying to keep the music alive here, folks. So if you have an instrument, like one of the ones you hear on this George Duke / Stanley Clarke track, then pick it up, play it. I guarantee you somebody wants to hear that music you making. Jazz 11 there, folks, and don't forget you can check out our Facebook page in case you missed the Jazz at 11 selection for today or any of the days. Good morning again. The name of the show is It's a New Day, where there's no such thing as a right or wrong opinion. Give us a call, express yours, 228-896-9455. We were talking to Don there. Good morning again, Don. How are you, sir? Hello, Don. I'll check you out here, Don. 228-896-9455. Don, you there? All right, we'll check on you here. Hang tight with us. We were discussing not just what happened there in Minneapolis with the trial of Derek Chauvin, the sentence being handed down. We were asking how you felt about that sentence, but also his statement after, or I'm sorry, shortly before the sentence was handed down. But one of the comments made about what he was actually given, that 22.5 years, only 22.5 years for the killing of George Floyd. Frederick responds, just a joke. Judge got jokes. Imagine this is a black cop on a white man's neck for 9 minutes. Then what the sentence would be. The scales of justice is not balanced. Could be some truth to that. 228-896-9455. Let's try Don back again. Good morning again, Don. Don, you there?
Hello?
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry about that, Don. How are you, sir?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. All right, thanks, Ro. No, I was going to address the Mississippi State issue there.
With the baseball
game. I think he set it off. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. With the baseball game. Go ahead.
Yeah, with the baseball, and I like Ronnie's takes. I really agree with most of everything he says. So I think he's a little bit off base here. I don't think racism had anything to do with it. The key when you have you're playing baseball is to win it all in the World Series, the College World Series. And if Mississippi State's in the College World Series, if they had 9 Chinese people out there or Russians or whoever, if you can get there, that's the key. It's not that you're going to exclude anybody off your team. You're trying to get the best people out there possible. So I was looking at this young man's stats. His name is, let's see, what's this young brother's name? Braylon Skinner.
Okay.
And he played in every game. There was 47 games that Mississippi State played. He started half of them. So it's not like they were not letting him play. He's at Mississippi State because it shows that both his parents went to Mississippi State. And when you really understand baseball, if he's one of the fastest guys on your team, baseball is situational. So you put him in there. I can guarantee you that nobody's keeping anybody off their team because of their skin color. It's about winning. So a lot of times, when it comes to issues like this, and I'm very much pro-black, but, it's facts over feelings. I just can't just throw something out there and say I feel this way because of what I observed. Right. In baseball, if the guy makes the winning hit, it's not who scores the winning run. Both are important, but that's why everybody gravitates to the guy who made the hit, whether he's black, white, any type of color. Everybody will gravitate towards the guy who makes the game-winning hit. But just wanted to throw that out there.
So just to clarify or to consolidate what you said there, you don't feel as though there's a race issue in this instance. You think that that's just the best man for that particular job, so that's the job that he's assigned by the coaches.
The issue, yeah, that's it. And somebody made the issue is that a lot of black kids are just not playing baseball. It's an expensive sport to play. It is somewhat of a who you know network because, of getting into baseball and, doing all this road travel and all this kind of stuff. But if you are good, they will, everybody wants the best players on that team. Everybody wants the best player on their team. And if Mississippi State can get to the World Series with the guys they have on that team, obviously they have the best players.
Yeah.
So it's not to the exclusion of anyone else. It's that they have the best players. They're going up against, matter of fact, Vanderbilt has several black players on their team, one of which is going to be a number one draft choice. So they're not going to not play the guy because he's black. So, yes, racism exists, yes. But, before you just lob something out there indiscriminately, you got to have some facts to back it up. And the facts that this guy played in every game. He started half of them, and he's a situational player.
I got you. Well, thank you, Don. Appreciate you making those comments there. 228-896-9455. Let's go out to Galloway, who's been patient. Oh, lost you. Give us a call back, Galloway. Sorry about that. Good morning, Ishmael. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, sir. Thanks for taking my call again, Brother Rowe.
Thank you for calling.
I just want to make a comment about some remarks that President Biden made, I think, Thursday or Friday about the Second Amendment, when he said something about the Second Amendment and the rights to bear arms here, and the fact that the government had nuclear weapons and fighter jets. Because when he said that, it made my ears kind of stand up to this point of, am I hearing him say that if it comes down to it and the government is doing things against the Constitution, if the government, like this past administration that we just had, that the government is capable of doing things against the Constitution.
Well, hold on for me, because I want to make sure everybody knows exactly what we're talking about here. These comments came down, looks like on Wednesday of last week. We talked about it briefly on the show, but here are those comments from the president that Ishmael is referring to.
Own them. And I might add, the Second Amendment from the day it was passed limited the type of people who could own a gun and what type of weapon you could own. You couldn't buy a cannon. Those who say the blood of patriots, and all the stuff about how we're going to have to move against the government. Well, the tree of liberty is not water with the blood of patriots. What's happened is that there never been, if you want to think you need to have weapons to take on the government, you need F-15s and maybe some nuclear weapons. The point is that there's always been the ability to rationally limit the type of weapon that can be owned and who can own it.
Those are the comments you're referring to, Ishmael?
Yes, it is. So my thing is, of course, if a person, you or I, even if we can afford it, can't go and buy a fighter jet. At least I'm not sure whether or not there's legislation that says that you can't buy a fighter jet.
Not one that's weaponized, no.
I'm sorry?
Not one that is weaponized, not one with the loadout, with live ammo. No, you cannot.
Yeah, exactly. So if there's not a law against that, then of course, apparently it's permissible. Same way, if there's not a law that says that you can no longer manufacture, because everyone seems to be wanting to take the rights away from the people to own weapons, but no one is stopping the manufacturers from manufacturing these weapons. So my thing is, if there is going to be regulation, and it says, the Second Amendment talks about a free state, that the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So whatever those arms are, unless there's a law against that, then if a person has the weapons to protect to protect their family, themselves, and the state, or their community, then if a person do get a nuclear weapon or get a fighter jet, or even if those who have access to nuclear weapons and fighter jets decide that they're going to go against the government, then my thing is, at what point do the government use those same weapons against the civilians? Well, and I guess to me, that's why. I'm sorry.
Well, I think that that's part of why he said that. He named those two specific classes of weaponry, but I mean, the conversation was talking about what you just said, the ability to, number one, make amendments to the Constitution and how those can be altered. But number two, the fact that, guns and the right to own a gun has always been managed by the government in this country. You cannot own a cannon. You cannot own a fully automatic weapon, despite there being a Second Amendment that says that a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So, I mean, the thought is that, these rules have been around for a while now. There is gun control.
And so that gun control is, to me, is an infringement upon the rights of a person to own weapons. To me, it's just, it's like speaking tongue in cheek to say that if the Constitution says that it should not be infringed, then what prevents a citizen, according to the Constitution, from having whatever weapons that they can't possibly have? And if the government's going to, come up with regulation against it to regulate that militia, but an individual is not a militia. So that regulation is about, to me, the way I read Second Amendment, is about regulating a group, an organized group. You regulate that organized group, a militia, but that has nothing to do with that last phrase of the amendment. It says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Well, wait a minute.
I guess the point I'm making.
Well, hold on, because I want to go back to your interpretation here real quick. So you're saying that you think that the Second Amendment only applies to that well-regulated militia, those first four words in it? Is that what I'm getting?
No. I believe that those first words are well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of the free state.
Of a free state, right.
That's right. That's talking about a militia, which is an organized group. Right. Not an individual. A militia is not an individual. Right. But then the third phrase says the right of the people to keep and bear arms. And then it says shall not be infringed. Yeah. The right of the people. So talk about a well-regulated militia. Right. To me, my interpretation.
I got you.
It's talking about well-regulated militia, and then it talks about the individual, the right of the people to keep and bear arms. So to me, it's two separate things.
Well, it is. But at the same time, we are working backwards here. We're attempting in 2021 to get into the mind of someone writing this in 1789. We're thinking with 22nd century ideas about something that happened, in the 18th century. So my idea is, based on what you just said, the thought is that the well-regulated militia was going to be necessary for the security of a free state, right? So that's the first thing that they said here. They didn't start the Second Amendment with, it is the right of the people to keep and bear arms because a well-regulated militia is necessary for the security of a free state. So I mean, I hear what you're saying. I'm not disputing it. That's how you read this. How I read it is that the thought is that, these guys knew for a fact that a militia could and probably would be necessary at some point. So they didn't want to have a government overreach to say that only these folks can keep and bear arms, only those folks can keep and bear arms, because when the need for a militia came down, they didn't want to have to go through those problems. And my thought, they didn't want to be compared to the English when it comes to who can have weapons, who can't, and why. So, but again, after the 1920s, after we talked about Bonnie and Clyde, being responsible for the deaths of at least 9 law enforcement officers that we know of, and, a handful of civilians that we know of, and the other gangsters of the time, using automatic weapons, a Thompson submachine gun particularly, to wreak havoc upon and across the United States. There had to be a rule to come down, more, quote, gun control, end quote, to curb that. So that's why, the Tommy gun, how we know it with the drum barrel, was outlawed. You couldn't have that drum. You couldn't have that many rounds on you ready to fire at one time. We have similar laws still in the books now for modern weapons. So it's not like after the Second Amendment was written, added the Constitution that, or when the Constitution is being written, that, you know, they're going to, number one, think way off into the 22nd century to wonder what might mean we need when guns become so prevalent that every man, woman, and child can have one, or at least there are enough in this country for every man, woman, and child to have one. And then number two, the clear and present danger was maintaining these United States. So, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I don't dispute the importance of the Second Amendment, but we can't dispute, or we can't overlook, I should say, the notion, the fact that the government, the U.S. government, has come back after the Second Amendment to administer gun legislation. There has been, and really will continue to be, in my thought, the way things are going, legislation passed to enforce gun control, as it were. So, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I don't necessarily agree 100% with what you're saying. But I don't think that Biden was saying in that statement that the Second Amendment won't apply or shouldn't apply unless and until, you know, you have an F-14 or F-15 or a nuclear weapon. I'm just saying he's looking at it from a 2021 perspective back on a 1789 document. He's saying at this point in history, if you really think that that Second Amendment is going to keep your right to buck up against a tyrannical government is valid, this are those arms that you're going to need that are mentioned there. The right to keep and bear arms, those arms would look like today in 2021 an F-15 or a nuclear weapon. If you're really trying to go against the U.S. government in total, because simply those are the weapons at their disposal. Well, our disposal. We are the government. But do you understand what I'm saying? Like how I got what I got from what he was saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying and what you got from it. My thing is, and I understand perfectly what you're saying, and I agree with 90% of what you're saying. My thing is, at the same time, if a person who has a 38 can walk up on a general who has command over a F-15 or a nuclear weapon, and that person with that 38 can walk up on them at a place to stop their life, to keep them from giving orders about flying off that nuclear weapon, or shooting off flying that jet, or a person can use that 38 to stop a pilot from flying that jet because they kidnapped that pilot or whatever when he's coming from the grocery store. My point is, when the government has so much power, and to me, what he was saying, what Biden was saying, what I understand him to be saying, was that because of the kind of weapons that the government has, that no matter whether you got an AR-15 or whatever, R-38, then long as the government weapons are more powerful than yours, then the government can regulate, saying that you cannot have that particular weapon. You cannot have, because AR-15 is basically an IM-16.
Yeah,
which is what the military has.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I'll go back and listen again. But I just did not. I didn't get that interpretation from it. I don't think he was saying, you know, as long as our guns are bigger than y'all guns, you're not about to tell us about guns. You know, I think that he was trying to apply a real. I didn't, brother. I'll go back and check it out again. But you know, I just didn't get that. I didn't get that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And one last thing, so that collapse of that building over in Florida, it was such a resemblance to the collapse of those buildings in Gaza last month, and it kind of makes you wonder, you know, whether it was the foundational problem or whether there was something that was going on.
Controlled demolition, perhaps.
As opposed to, I'm sorry.
Like a controlled demolition, perhaps.
Yeah. I mean, that's because it looked just like those buildings that were collapsing over in Gaza. And of course, you know, the fact that, you know, Miami is known to have a large amount of Zionists, it's almost as if nature, or those children that was killed in Gaza, or the karma, was like something was trying to send maybe the world or America a lesson about karma and the spirits of all those kids that were killed over in Gaza. But that's just my notion.
I got you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for calling. 228-896-9455. Let's go back to Galloway. Good morning, Galloway. How are you, brother? Dan Colleen.
Hey. What's going on, Ro? How you doing?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Okay, real quick, yeah. But what I was saying to you on the phone, Derek Chauvin, he doesn't care. You look at his facial expression, but I really want y'all to go back and play what his mama said. His mama is where he get it from. She was just as bigoted as he was. She never acknowledged George Floyd or acknowledged George Floyd's family. She never gave any condolences or anything. Only thing she was there to do was defend her murderous son, which we all seen on videotape.
Right.
That Derek Chauvin is about to get $50,000 a year once he turns 50. He knows on this charge, this state charge, that he will not serve more than 10 years in prison because of the 3-for-1 time already served, and that only have to do 2/3 of that sentence. It says he only have to do 15 years, but it didn't say 15 day for day. So with all this good behavior and this good time on this sentence, not the federal charge, but on this sentence, that man, he'll be out in, by the time he's 55 if he's not convicted on the other charges. Before he's 55, I should say.
What did you think of his statement?
I hope that makes sense.
It does. What did you think of his statement that he made, telling the Floyd family that he hopes that forthcoming information will give them some sense of some peace of mind? I think he said.
That was to tell the judge, hey, look, Judge, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to tell him I'm sorry. That's what I took it as. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to tell him I'm sorry. Hey, can you knock a few years off? Which I think the judge was very lenient.
Yeah.
So that's how I looked at his statement.
So you think that was more for the judge and the public as opposed to directly to the Floyd family?
Oh, definitely. It's a plot. That's a plot. To get up there. And the mama, she really, she took her female feminist views about just her and what she's doing. And listen to what his mom said. You sentencing him is like you sentencing me. Not in consideration that her son was convicted of murder.
Right.
But it's all poor me.
Right.
So
Victimization. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're the victim now. Since y'all gonna send my son to prison, I won't be able to see him and hug him again. I had to listen to her speech twice. I said, I cannot believe that woman fixed her mouth to let this garbage come out of there, and thinking that everything was gonna be okay. But I'm telling you, you follow the money on this. This dude has lawyers that's hired by the fraternal order police from that same precinct that he was fired from. That money that those police officers pay their union dues to is supporting people like Derek Chauvin.
Yeah, upwards of like $1 million were donated to his defense fund, if I'm not mistaken, from this order.
And so until now, if he didn't have the money, Derek Chauvin wouldn't be acting like that. He know he has. Hey, these people working for me for free. I don't have to pay anybody. And once appeal process start going, and depends on who the appeal the judge is, you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised, at all about him sitting there giving some blanket fake statement, or his little light sentence. Because I told y'all Friday when I called, you got to look at these sentences disparities between African Americans and Caucasians for the same crime.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. We talked about earlier the double life plus hundreds of years that at least one cop killer got. Thank you for your call, Galloway. Appreciate you as always.
All right.
228-896-9455. Let's go to Tony. Tony wanted to comment on the MSU baseball situation. Good morning, Tony. Hello, Tony. All right, check 2 for me, if you don't mind. 228-896-9455 here, folks. Ronnie, you wanted to respond to the Mississippi State baseball comment made earlier?
Yeah. All due respect to Don, I don't have no problem with him or nothing. But I'm just going by what I saw. I've been in baseball like I said, I coached for 15 years, and I went to 2 state tournaments for Dixie Youth. I'm going by what his coach said and what we saw. His coach said that he don't play much. That's what his coach said.
This is the young brother that was made to run
I don't know what
after
stats he got or what, how many times he done played. But I do know in a state as large as Mississippi, you can't tell me that you ain't got some black, Chinese, are Mexican players that would love to have an opportunity to play for Mississippi State.
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
Of course.
I mean, come on, let's be honest.
Of course, but
Mississippi State, the only baseball team row that's in the state that don't have. I mean, it ain't with inclusive. I put it like that.
I got you.
But now I'm going by what his coach said, not and what we saw.
Yeah, but I mean, again, referring back to what Don said, do you not think that this student might, the student athlete, I should say, might be that guy when it comes to being fast enough to be a pinch runner? I mean, he could just be better at rounding bases than he is at actually hitting home runs. Yes.
I'd be the first one to tell you, one of the things that I coached the most was the hit and run, the bunt and run. I think that was the perfect scenario to put him in. I have no problem with that. The perfect scenario. And I'm a firm believer that you put your best 9 on the field. I'm a firm believer in that.
But you're thinking that he should have more at bats.
Agreeing with Don, I'll say that. I put my best 9 on the field.
But this particular player should be at bat more, is what you're saying.
That's what his coach said, that he don't play much.
I got you.
And looking at the optics, you can't tell me if you got 20 players, you can't find but one black. That's all I'm saying. I don't care how expensive it is. All them guys that played on that team, all their parents ain't rich.
Right. I hear you. All right. Well, thank you, Ronnie.
Come on now, don't make no excuses.
No,
Let's be real.
not at all. We're getting.
Let's be real.
Yeah, we're getting this information as our listeners are getting it. So I mean, I don't follow MSU baseball. I got to take your word for it and defer to your wisdom as a baseball coach, and that I do.
I mean, Ro, I have to say, I would have done the same thing being a coach with the situation at hand.
Yeah.
It's the perfect situation. He did the perfect thing to do. But his coach said, I put him in because he was the fastest, even though he don't get to play much. That's what his coach said.
I got you. Thank you for calling back, Ronnie. Appreciate you. 228-896-9455. Tony, you wanted to comment on the MSU situation?
Yes, I did. Ronnie is leading in the right direction because Mississippi State is racist. Because why did they fire Sylvester Croom and he made Coach of the Year? The Illuminati, I listened to our radio station, they said, why this N-word coach in Mississippi State? He made Coach of the Year and they fired him. So run ahead in the right direction.
So you're
That's all I had to say.
I got you. So you're of a mind that racism is a factor when it comes to not playing this runner.
Yeah, because like I said, Sylvester Croom made Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
And they fired him the next season. And that's the last time Mississippi State beat Alabama.
That's true. That's very true. I got you. Well, thank you for your call, Tony. Appreciate you as always. 228-896-9455. Ms. Faye, you wanted to comment on the baseball situation? Or Second Amendment?
That wasn't what I was talking about.
Okay, you wanted to comment on the Second Amendment. I got you. Did you? Can I get you to hang on through this break for me, Ms. Faye?
Uh-huh.
All right. Thank you so much. 228-896-9455. More comments on Derek Chauvin's sentence when we come back here, folks.
If you missed it, check out It Is a New Day with Rip Daniels on Podbeam, YouTube, and itisanewday.com. When you don't listen, you miss something.
And this was the demo version that didn't make it out until after his untimely demise. Request there. You're welcome. Happy to play it for you. Good morning. It's a new day where there's no such thing as a right or wrong opinion. Give us a call to express yours at 228-896-9455. Discussing the sentence of Derek Chauvin and just kind of catching you up over the weekend here. Ms. Faye is on with us. Ms. Faye wanted to talk about the Second Amendment and interpretation thereof that Ishmael and I were discussing earlier after Biden's comments from last week talking about nuclear weapons and F-15s. What did you think about it, Ms. Faye?
Well, I think like this. The Second Amendment was written that it says that you have the right to protect your home and your family. Now, through the years, things have changed about guns and the law. During the Wild Wild West days, they made it that you could not carry a gun when you come to town. You have to check your gun out of a particular place. And nowadays, people seem to think that they want to go back to them days when people were carrying guns and call you out the street and kill you for nothing. So I think that it is overrated. You're taking it too far. Who would have an automatic weapon? And the claim, I'm going hunting with it. Who's going to want to eat that meat that's been shot up? Nobody.
Yeah.
So they got to come with a different preference there, because I think that the thing that they want to load up their guns, when that kid went in there to the Methodist church and killed 9 people there, and he's trying to start a race war, I think that has a lot to do with it.
So the over-arming, you think, is in some sort of preparation for this supposed helter-skelter event? Is that what you're saying?
What purpose would it be? Because they outrun the police now.
Yeah, I got you. Well, thank you for your calling back and your comments on the Second Amendment there, Ms. Faye. Hopefully you got yours. You know, they got theirs, you got to have yours, right? I mean, I got mines. My mom hates when I say that. Mines. I can hear her cringing all the way from Stone County right now just because I said mines on the radio. She can't stand it. And at 12:01 p.m. today, I'm going to hear about it. But I hear what you're saying, Ms. Faye. A lot of these folks have this idea that there will be another civil war fought on these shores, and that these guns, the amount of guns, the amount of ammunition is necessary just in case. When there's been no indication besides those groups, like that individual there in Charlottesville who went and shot up that church, that AME church, except from that group, there has been no indication of anyone fanning a flame of a race war. You know, we don't see that over. We just talked about what's happening up there with the new Black Panthers coming outside the convenience store holding a protest. They're not calling for a race war. That's a specific isolated incident, but it's those incidents that fuel this kind of insecurity. And I think that's the root cause of all this. I think that the amount of guns that we have in this country today, right now, at this second, is based chiefly in the insecurity of the majority of those who have them. And I say majority because I don't know all of you, and I could be wrong there. But I'm thinking, just based on seeing you guys out with your gear, that you're compensating for something. And if you are, that's fine. It's between you and your therapist. I really don't care. Until your thought that your right to bear those arms supersedes my right to peacefully exist as a human being. Then we have a problem. Okay? Especially if you think that, I'm a target based on how I look. And the Civil Rights Act of 1968 protects me federally from you trying to infringe upon my rights based on your fear. And if you need to go look that up, go look it up and read it. But that's where we are now, folks. And if you dispute that, that's fine. Give me a call. We'll talk about it. 228-896-9455. But if you really pay attention to the amount of gun sales in this country, the fact that there was an ammo shortage in this country last year, and probably I think it started the year before that in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, and the never-ending proliferation of guns in this country, then there's no debating, there's no disputing that. And don't come up with this idea about, what about Chicago? We're not talking about Chicago. Obviously, there's an illegal gun problem in this country. We're talking about laws and how these laws that are on the books are making people in this country less safe. You just heard about a good guy with a gun earlier in the show getting killed after stopping a potential mass shooter. And you can expect more of that if you don't, if you don't pay attention. Hopefully, you won't find yourself in that crossfire. 228-896. Go out to Atlanta. Talk to Bobby. 228-896-9455. Good morning, Bobby. How are you, sir?
Hey, good morning, Ro. How you doing this morning?
Thank you for calling.
Ro, I got a question for you, and I had a question for Real, but maybe you can answer tomorrow. I know he's real big on this gun control. I wonder when he walked down there and turn his guns in if there's too many guns on the streets.
I can't speak for him directly, but I think you've heard him say that would not be happening.
Yeah. So.
But what was your question for me?
What
was your question for me?
On the street, just because we walk around with guns, and I'm a proud gun owner, does not mean that it's going to go back into the Wild Wild West days. It means that somebody you just getting them for protection.
Right.
That's it.
Right. But Bobby, would you not say that, like that story that we talked about with the guy who confronted the individual, disarmed him, and then was shot by officers after that happened? Would you not say that is a clear and present danger the more guns we have, whether they're legal or illegal?
I can't say that, Ro. I can't say it because there's too many guns. Because I don't know what is too many. You see what I'm saying? Honest answer. That's my honest answer. I don't know how the guy got shot. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he was trying to be a hero. They haven't said he fired his or did whatever. Did he pull the gun? I don't think the man just walked up to him and just shot him, did he?
Yeah, he did. He had a gun in his hand that was the assailant's weapon that he disarmed, right, and subdued. This person who was a potential mass shooter didn't get the opportunity, but then that individual was then shot himself. But this is
just one incident that we know of that don't happen with this.
Well, I mean, that's one incident that we've talked about today, but that's not to say that this is the only isolated incident. As a matter of fact, I can tell you for a fact it's not the only isolated incident that this occurs in. But I'm trying to get to the root. I'm trying to get to the root to the point of your question here. You asked about what is too many guns. What do you think are too many guns? How many guns are too many guns? When do you feel outarmed, outgunned?
To be honest with you, Ro, and I don't like to sugarcoat anything, I got maybe over 15 guns. I feel like I still ain't got enough because of the way the world that I live in today. You know what I mean? Like it's a crazy, crazy world. So I don't feel like it's enough. That's just my opinion.
I got you, and that's your opinion.
However, and one more quick thing, bro, about baseball. I think a lot of the reason why a lot of the young guys that's not playing baseball, I played baseball with Auburn University. Yeah. I think a lot of them is not playing because they don't rap about it. They don't sing about it.
Because they don't rap about it. I just played you a rap song about baseball. Nelly went pro.
No. What I'm saying is rappers in today, you don't hear about celebrity women dating baseball players. You can't really name one except Jennifer Lopez. But you can't really name too many women that have dated baseball players.
So it's not.
They don't see that. They're not glorifying it. They don't see it. Rappers are not rapping about it.
Not as glamorous, so less desirable for young black males to be baseball players. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like football and basketball. You hear about the LeBron James. You hear about the Julio Jones. You hear about all of them, but you don't hear. You can't name one baseball player that's black that people really, really know about. For young people really, really know about because they don't glorify them.
I got you. Well, thank you for your call, Bobby. We'll be back, folks.
It's a new day with Rip Daniels, the #1 talk show in South Mississippi on Jay-Z 94.5.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Look, once upon a time, and I heard that I was ugly. Came from a chick who wanna touch. I said my face.
Belcalis Almanzar. You know her as Cardi B. Congratulations, Cardi. Cardi and Offset, aka do you know Offset's real name?
Mr. Belcalis?
It's not Mr. Belcalis, actually.
It's
Kiari Cephas.
His last name is Cephas?
So Cardi's married name is Belcalis Cephas. That's her actual legal name.
It sounds like I don't know what that sounds like.
Belcalis Cephas. That's a great name. Anyway, congratulations, Offset and Cardi. Got another one on the way.
Yeah.
Culture's going to have a little brother or sister. We don't know just yet. As is Jordan, Kalia, and Cody, the Cephas kids.
Yeah.
So number 5 for Offset, number 2 for Cardi and Offset. Congratulations. It's a beautiful thing. I say it's a beautiful thing because they are a married couple.
Yes.
Who are building a family together. They're a very successful black married couple who are building a family together, and I applaud them for it. It's a beautiful thing. 228-896-9455. Jay is on the line with us, talking about a race war here. This whole idea of helter-skelter and the proliferation of guns in this country. Good morning, Jay. How are you, sir?
Hey, Ro. How you doing this morning?
Pretty good.
Good. So my question is, and just my question.
Sure.
Speaking of the race war, don't you think January 6th insurrection played a part in the possibility of a race war? Just because it was all about not counting the black vote in those particular states and in areas like that. So I just wanted to get your opinion on that because my opinion, I think it did have something to do with a possible race war. That's why they were trying to stop the democratic process.
So before I give you my 2 pennies on it, why do you think that Why do you think that it has now ratcheted up the tensions? Why do you think January 6th puts us closer to helter skelter?
Well, look at the demographics of who played a big role in what happened on January 6th.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's why I think that.
I mean, I asked that, and I think I know what you're getting at. But I asked it because that was an attack on the Capitol itself. And they weren't specifically saying, "Don't count the black votes. Don't count the black votes." They didn't specifically target black Capitol officers.
Let's think about it. Let's think about that for a minute, though. But whose vote did they not want to count because of all these mail-in ballots and things like that, drop boxes, in Houston and Detroit and areas like that?
Hey, Jay, I'm with you. I hear what you're saying, but their commander in chief wasn't there standing just a couple miles away from the mall saying, "We're gonna make sure that they don't count those black votes."
You're right.
So, I hear you, but I feel like there would have been more to it. I feel like there would have been directed attacks toward the darker shaded folks there. And we wouldn't have such vocal former or still current Capitol Police officers coming to say, "Hey, look, I fear for my life, and those folks look like me." Now, that's not to say that there weren't a whole lot of bigots in that crowd. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that those folks who did that would not be the ones to also participate in this presumptive race war. I just don't see that as, that to me, that was not a Crispus Attucks moment. That was not a shot heard around the country as far as kicking that off. But I hear your concern, and I understand why it is what it is. But my question for you following that is, do you think that anything, based on gun laws as they are now, could curb the further proliferation of weapons and arms in this country?
No, I don't think so.
No. Pandora's box cannot be closed. Is that how you land on it?
No, not right now.
Do you think that there could
get some common sense?
Do you think there could be an event to? Do you think there could be an event to make folks rethink this whole thing?
At this point in time, I don't think so.
No.
I think people have just become numb to everything that happens, with all the mass shootings and things like that. People become numb to it, unfortunately. So I don't think so.
I got you.
Not right now.
Appreciate you. Thank you for your call, Jay. Appreciate you as always. 228-896-9455. Doc, you get the last word. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Robert. You know, people of the world today is uncivilized.
Yeah.
And that building with the collapse, that was a smart bomb, not the dumb bomb, the smart bomb.
You mean like a
And
controlled?
called racism.
You think it was a controlled demolition, Doc?
Oh, yes, all it was. I mean, they gonna find out the building just didn't fall down. Don't be no fool. You kill 1,000 people. That's the same as shit. You kill one.
Yeah. So you think it was something along those lines?
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. The game is real.
Oh, the game is real now. Absolutely, 100%. You know, I agree with you on that. That night in the club, that's how I got that gold card.
Yeah, and you understand racism once you get old as me.
Well, I look forward to it. But if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. 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 Any road will take you there.